In the last episode, I quickly beat the game and raided some end cities. I then finished by building this wool farm that you see behind me, and I mainly made this for the starter base I'll be building today, but also for one other reason. Beds. Lots of beds. Okay, I might have gotten a little bit carried away, but I'd say that was pretty successful. I ended up with just over a stack of ancient debris. Now I'm just going through all the areas I obliterated, making sure I didn't miss any ancient debris, as it's pretty easy to do. Just like this one here. Now that I'm finished ancient debris mining, let's head back home, where I can smelt it all down. And use those along with some of the gold we got from the end cities we raided last episode to craft netherite. And I'd say that looks much better. And now that we're in netherite, it's time to start gathering materials for today's build. First item on the list is spruce wood, so I guess I need to find a spruce forest. No. That's kinda cool, but no. And here we are. And now that we're here, it's time for a little bit of deforestation. I'd say that went pretty well. I got a whole shulker box and a few more stacks on top of that, so hopefully that's enough. If you don't feel like mining down an entire forest, another great strategy for mining spruce wood is placing a 2x2 like this, standing in the middle and throwing a pearl up, and then bone mealing it. That way when the pearl lands, you end up right on top and you can dig straight down. The next thing I need is dark oak wood, and luckily it's just over there. So I'll go ahead and get a bunch off camera. And that's way more than enough. On the way back home, I found this really cool looking mountain, so I spent a little time looking in and around that. I also accidentally pushed a sheep into a pit, but I'm sure it's fine. Now that I've got most of the wood I need, I can finally start building. I'm just finishing up the basic shape of the boat. And I'm starting to realize that this is a lot bigger than I had originally planned. So, hopefully I have enough wood. But anyway, let's start building. At this point, it's finally starting to actually look like a boat, but I'm still clearly not done. I'm thinking I just want to do a little bit of on-camera detailing to the parts I've done so far. For starters, I want to put a few cannons in the side of the ship here, and I guess dispensers would probably be best for that. So I guess it's time to kill some skeletons. So I'm thinking I'll just put one in every couple of blocks, and then add a little bit of a cover. For that I'll use some dark oak trapdoors, so it looks like they can be closed. Well, I guess they can. And then I'll do that all along the side of the ship. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Oh, so on my way to Spruce Forest, I stopped by the swamp and picked up a few lily pads. I did this so I can use them as temporary platforms to help me build. If you're ever building on the water, I definitely recommend using some lily pads. The next thing I want to add is a steering wheel. I've seen quite a few designs for these, but I find a lot of them are too big, too simple, or just don't look like a steering wheel at all. So I went into a creative world and experimented around until I came up with this design. The first thing you do is place the armor stand down and position it so that it has both of its arms together, like this. You then place a piston above its head, and place a slab underneath it like this. And you can take a lever and push that down. You then take an oak fence gate and open it the same direction as the armor stand's arms, and push that down as well. The last thing you need to do is place an oak trapdoor on the fence gate, and then you're done. The next thing I want to add is a plank, not only because I think it would look cool, but also whatever fool designed this boat made it so you can't get off of it easily. It shouldn't be too difficult, it's pretty much just a plank of wood hanging off the boat. Just like that. With some of the detailing done, I think it's time to get back to work on the sails. Alright, I've got all the sails done now. I don't like those ones. That's better. I think they still look a little plain, so I might add a bit of calcite to the bottoms of them soon. But before I do that, I want to build a few crow's nests. And building these shouldn't be too hard. All you need to do is make a little ring of trapdoors, and then just surround that with another ring of trapdoors. And once you're done that, all you have to do is close the exterior ones, and then you're done. While I'm up here, I might as well also add a flag. To do that, just a bit of deep slate walls and then some red walls, like so. I added another crow's nest over there, then added a big flag to the top. Now I think it's time we add some ropes to connect all the sails, especially seeing how half of the sails are floating in the air. So let's do that. And with that done, it's starting to look finished. Well, from the outside anyway. As you may have noticed, I also added some calcite into the sails, which I think make them look a little bit better. Originally, when I wanted to use calcite, I thought I was going to have to mine down a bunch of geodes. But then I remembered in the new Stony Peaks biome you can actually find these big veins of calcite. So I went and found this one, and mined all of it. And this gave me over an entire shulker box of calcite. So definitely a great new feature. I'm just about finished the first interior area. This area is like the captain's cabin. There's just a few more things I want to add, like for example maybe some candles in this corner. And I guess while lighting these I should be pretty careful because, you know, this whole place is made of wood, so yeah. This room was pretty challenging to build because it's only 2.5 blocks big, so I could really only had 2 blocks to work with. Like I would have wanted to make this bed higher and a few other things. The only thing that I could really put on the roof is the bookshelf because the top of it has the same texture as the oak plank, so you won't notice it from above. Over here I built a little bit of a cartography station with a little spyglass and cartography table, and in the middle I put a map of the boat, which I don't really like, so I think I want to replace it with a treasure map, as I feel like that would be pretty fitting for the area. And to do that I need to find a shipwreck, so I'm choosing my Riptide Trident to fling through the water to find one. Perfect. And I guess we might as well get the treasure as well. And here we are. Alright, I'll take it. It's also just so satisfying when the chest is in the first hole that you dig. So it's a shame that that never happens. Now we can replace this one. And yeah, I think that looks a little better. And now that this room's finished, we can turn our attention to the bottom. First things first, I think I want to drain this. And unfortunately I don't have any sponges, so I'll just have to fill it up with sand and then break it all. So that will be fun. Much better. Now I'm just going around placing blocks with like stairs and slabs and stuff just to smooth the whole area out, especially in the two ends where they look really messy. I'm also adding some darker planks on top of all the dark oak logs that are showing through. Alright, I'm done that now, and as you can see it looks way nicer. Not only does it look better, but it's also way easier to walk through. I also went ahead and added some slabs around the ceiling because it was just looking a little flat, and that helps it a bit. I don't think I'd want to anyway, but there's not really any good way of covering the back of the dispensers, so instead what I want to do is just add some levers on the back to make it look like they're actual functional cannons. I guess if I put arrows in them, they might actually work. Let's find out. I got a few arrows now. I'm not sure if it will work because there is a trap door in front, but there's only one way to find out. Oh, that works pretty well actually. The original plan below deck was just to fill the whole thing with chests and other forms of storage, but now that I see it, this area is pretty big. So instead what I'm going to do is fill about half of it with a bunch of bunk beds and some tables with equipment for all the crew that would live on the boat, and then fill the rest with storage. So let's do that. And with all that done, there was just this one little spot left, and I want to fill that with shulker boxes. So I quickly crafted all the shulker boxes I could and dyed them all brown before bringing them over to the ship. And there we go. Now I have an entire pile of about 40 to 50 shulker boxes, so now whenever I need one I can just mine one off the pile and take it. I know what you're thinking, you'd wish I misclicked with the flint and steel. But also, how is this storage room even remotely organized? And actually what I did is I just put a little symbol on whatever the chest has. For example, I put a potted oak sapling here so I know all my wood stuff is in around this area. I have flour there so I know my flour stuff is in here. And just did stuff like that for each of the categories. With the shulker boxes placed, we're pretty much done down here. But I still feel like the ceiling looks a little bit plain. So what I want to do is just cut a few holes in the ceiling, and then fill these holes up with some oak trapdoors. Which creates these two big hatches that I imagine they'd use for like bringing big cargo loads to below deck, which adds a lot of interest to the deck up here. But also if we go down, it definitely improves the ceiling down here as well. With the two hatches in, the boat's pretty much complete. There's just still one tiny little detail I want to add. A parrot. First try. Nice. And I think I want to put him right up there. There we go. I think that's a pretty good spot for him. If you have a good name for our new parrot, then let me know in the comment section down below. And with the parrot in place, the boat's finished. After getting a better look at the boat, you may have noticed a few things related to the Guardian, such as a few different Guardian eyes all over the boat, and the rudder being a giant Guardian tail. And that's because the people who live on this boat, and will soon live over there in a village, are actually allied with the Guardians. I won't go too deep into the story right now, but that's a thing I'm trying to do. But with that said, that's it for me today, so see you all in the next video.